Alright guys, so this is who we're going to be watching right here. We're going to be watching her body language. We want to watch her hands. We want to watch how invested she is in this conversation at this point. And I also want to say before I start that Marilyn, I think you did a very good job out there today. There's a lot of stuff that took place right before this interaction with this group of people, and the way that you held your composure, and you didn't become emotionally compromised due to the way that some of these people were speaking to you. That takes a real person who loves the people around them, and I think you know that they are just simply brainwashed, so you can't really be too angry at them. So no one really looks at my channel, but I'm gonna make sure that you see this, and I just wanted to tell you, excellent job. Alright, so let's take a look at what I'm seeing here.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so just as the camera pans over, I just want you to keep an eye on her body language. So they go straight for a motive. Always straight for a motive. You can tell the thinkers who are in the group, and you can tell who the followers are, okay? And then sometimes you can tell that people are thinking, but they just want to make sure that they're still fitting in. Alright, we're not going to go into everybody. I just wanted to address this little girl here because this is the ringleader, okay? And if you know anything about bees, alright, bees always follow the queen. Alright, she may not be the queen outside of this little group right here, but she's the queen in this conversation. Alright, normally flat earthers, they're not going to have egos. So he's not focused on which one of these people are the ringleader or anything like that. Right now, he's just solely getting the message out, provoking thought, giving the best answer he can to feed these people. But see, these people just want to be entertained because they're being challenged. See, they believe that just by judging people and the way they look, that the information that they're going to have isn't valid. You have to remember that people have been conditioned to not think for themselves. They've been conditioned to accept only knowledge that comes from a credible source. All the knowledge that they have, all the knowledge, whether it be true or false, that they have has come from what they deem as a credible source. And a credible source has to be worked for so that you can have the accolades to prove that you are a credible source and somebody who is worthy of being listened to. But we're not going to really go into that. I just wanted to show her body language now. Look at her attire. That's an idol, of course. Alright, false idol. Let's go ahead and just take a look at what's going on here.
They can rule you. They trick us. They keep us stupid. They keep us ignorant. They don't want us to know the secrets of
What's this knowledge really going to keep us from? Like, if we live on a flat planet, I mean,
because they set a foundation of lies and they tell you more lies and more lies. And then your whole world is built upon lies. They lie about history, they lie about money, they lie about food.
Are you
about
freezing?
the pharmaceutical industry, they lie about everything.
You don't have any energy to burn.
Lies and delusions.
why would the government spend
Alright,
billions
so
of dollars building rockets to shoot up into the
take a
sky?
look
Keep
at
the show
this.
going. They keep the show. They gotta keep fooling us. They always come up with some new idea. This latest one was that there was a hole in the International Space Station, and one of the astronauts plugged it with his finger.
Something you have to know about money. They own the Federal Reserve system where they print the money. Money means nothing to them. It only means something to us because...
Okay, so did you hear what she said? This may not seem like a big deal, but it helps people to bring together the reason and the conviction that someone personally might have for standing out to try and actually convey the message that they are. Okay, so when you relate people to money, normally this age, they're not going to understand that. These kids right here are not going to understand that. They don't work yet. I'm assuming that. They could be old enough to be working, but at this age, you're not going to really understand what it means to work for your money. You're not going to understand what it means to budget or limit yourself in your lifestyle, your activity, raising a family, trying to afford your own way. They're not going to have any real true understanding of that. They might understand the concept of working through their school system, but they're not going to understand through experience, okay? And I mean, it's debatable, but true experience has to come from understanding. And understanding, I'm sorry, true understanding has to come with experience. You can understand the concept of something, you can understand how it's supposed to theoretically work, you can understand through pictures, you can understand through seeing, but you're not going to have full understanding until you have experience. Alright? Just because you understand something doesn't mean you know something. Okay? So, sorry that I didn't really need to go off digress like that, but that's something that needs to be remembered when you're actually watching people's mannerisms. When you're utilizing body language when communicating with people, you have to see where they're coming from as well as listen. But they're also conflicted. They're fighting a battle within themselves because they're being challenged now. So the amount of reinforcement that we receive on a daily basis of this spinning ball model that we live on, that there's the possibility of dangerous things hurting us from space, all of these things are strategically fabricated to withhold the infrastructure, the social construct infrastructure. Alright? So it doesn't matter what your interests are, they find a way to infiltrate it, and it's actually quite clever. But let's get started before I talk too much.
What we think we are.
She's resonating with this. She has her own money. She probably worked for that money. So this makes sense to her. This doesn't make sense to him. These kids they're all in the group mentality, but everyone's listening to the message that's being conveyed. She can understand this because maybe there is something that she has researched before that has told her, you know what, maybe I can't really 100% trust the government, but she understands money. Okay? Money, before I press play again, I'm just going to keep on digressing, but money is the exchange of time and energy. You can only get your money by the exchange of your time and your energy, whether that be public, private, whatever. You obtain money, however you do it, by time and energy, your own time and your own energy. So spending that time and energy is either going to be spent on what you need or what you want. And your needs and your wants are two different things. Okay? But yeah, let's just keep going.
And we pay, and that's how we get along in life. But to those who print it out, they just print out more and more and more. So it means nothing to them. They can spend any amount, and it's nothing.
Right.
They are not accountable. That's what that guy, Ron Paul, he said, let's audit the Fed.
She still wants to be part
audit
of the
the
group
Federal
mentality.
Reserve. Let's see where all that money's going.
They're looking around for
didn't
things,
happen.
but
We cannot hold them accountable.
she's being
That's
held
the problem.
accountable for her thoughts now. And she's thinking about it, and she's relating to
And
it.
the wall.
What dome and what wall?
He said there's a
told us that
dome
there was a
surrounding
dome
the
and a
So
wall.
now we're going to jump
no,
onto
He said it's a pancake.
we're going to
Okay,
jump onto some
so
silly
who's
stuff
they?
right now, but
The government built the dome.
That's what this guy said.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, he did.
No.
I said the government
no.
built a dome?
No.
No, I
All right, well, you know what? The dome was here from the beginning.
But he said the government built it.
Well, he was.
So which one is it?
He
I
made.
didn't say the government built the dome.
Okay,
so-
we're stopping that. We're stopping.
Watch how Marilyn clearly maintains control of the conversation by shutting down the silly things and directing it right back to being something serious. Alright? So it's super easy for the sheep to take comedic relief as the road to exit a conversation. Super easy. They love to do it. We all did. We all love to just laugh and continue moving without even realize that we're only damaging ourselves by not taking the time to critically look at the information that's being presented to us. We would rather look at the vessel than the contents of that vessel. That's the way they've taught us. They've always told us, do not judge a book by its cover. But our conditioning is the opposite of that. Our conditioning is what makes us actually do the opposite of what we think that they're trying to teach us. So it's true that we know the difference between right and wrong. We know the difference between right and wrong. We're born knowing the difference between right and wrong. We choose to act the way we do, whatever way that may be, but we choose to make those choices. Okay, so when you choose comedy as your exit, and then you have somebody who's speaking from the spirit like Marilyn, then you have to make a choice on how you're going to conduct yourself within that conversation. And you're going to see how that works right here. So it's funny haha right now. Alright, we were trying to jump on some silly stuff to try and exit the conversation. But this is no longer about entertainment. It's a serious message being delivered, and you have the responsibility on your own to research this. And so watch what happens.
That right now, because that did not happen.
The dome is natural.
Stop
Why
it
would the
right now.
government try and hide it?
Look at the
Why
demeanor.
don't they just
Watch her
hide it
demeanor.
out and say
We gotta roll.
I know, very soon. So the dome is there, and the dome is evidence that somebody created it. The flat plane with a dome over it, somebody had to create that.
But who?
It could not be a random Big Bang event with random evolution, right? So
This
you
is
have
what
two
her
systems
entire
here.
life
So they
is founded upon. When you're wearing a shirt like this, your life is already founded upon lies. All right? And so here's what I'm gonna say. I don't mean to come off as rude or brash, but if you are incapable, and at this stage in receiving this information they are, if you are incapable of digging within yourself and admitting to yourself whether you really actually know something or if you don't know shit, if you're incapable of doing that on your own without anybody helping you, then you'll never be awake. Alright? Everyone else in this conversation is going to walk away dumb. Why? Because the papers that are being handed to them are in black and white, and so they can't, it doesn't have any pictures, it doesn't have any color, so they're not attracted to that. Now, I'm not saying that it's Marilyn or anybody's job to go out and make sure that it's entertaining for people to actually want to save themselves and wake up and learn. I'm not saying it's our responsibility to feed them properly or feed them with a little airplane, like when we were in little high chairs. Here comes the airplane, open up, remember when you got fed like that? It's not our responsibility to do that. What I am saying, though, is it is our responsibility to maintain control of the conversations that we are having with the people who are actually confronting us, both good and bad. And the way that Marilyn handles this, and the way that Marilyn brings it back to make this person the one person that's actually absorbing any of this, realize that this is serious. It's your responsibility. All right.
To believe that there is no creator. Whoever the creator is of the true system, you
Look
have
at
to
her
figure
face.
that out
Look at
yourself.
her.
Well, it's got to be whoever created the earth, right?
You figure that out.
Is that God? If God,
If that's who you
whoever
think it
created-
is,
if
all we
whoever
are talking
created the
about.
earth
See the
created
twitching?
dome, how come there's no other natural, clear, glass-like material?
There is
That's
in
what she said
Iran.
it was. Iran
You
is
look
not
at
what
it.
it's made out of?
I believe that the inner dome collapsed. There's several layers of it. If you look into this, there's several layers. In Iran, there's called desert glass, and it has, that's what they say it was.
Is that when some of it fell?
Egypt, all
Did some
right.
of that fall down to earth? Was that how it got there, or did
There
it
actually was a world flood. Whether you believe it or not, there actually was. Okay? So there's a lot of evidence with layered rock.
Okay, so see.
Okay? And so you have
She's-
to look into that too.
Look at what's
But
happening
you,
right now.
you have to
This
do
is a
research.
beautiful
You
thing.
cannot just
This is a
say,
beautiful
I'm
thing.
just going to believe whatever the government says. You can start by
I'm
looking
not
up
trying to
200
talk
Proofs
over
video.
Marilyn, but what she's telling them is they are responsible. And look at the reaction that this little girl has.
A world flood. Whether you believe it or not, there actually was. Okay? So there's a
she
lot
still
of
wants to
evidence
try and be
with
on the offensive.
layered rock.
Her sister is ready to absorb.
Okay? And so you have to look into that too. But you have to do research. You cannot just say, I'm just going to believe whatever the government says. You can start by looking up 200 Proofs video. And you watch the 200 Proofs. And
see
what
that?
you don't understand, you go read.
See that? Did you see the nod she just did? It's because she realizes. See, her sister is still in La La Land because she lets her sister take the lead. But she knows something is going on. Now she realizes that she may not be on board with Flat Earth. No one ever is within the first 10 minutes of them hearing about it. You know? Now, I do believe that there are some people who have already known their entire life, but they've never actually said anything, or they were scared to say something, or they've just had a feeling that something wasn't right. I can relate to that. We all thought it was weird that the teacher told us that there was people that if we went in our backyard and dug a hole to the other side, that we would be able to just get into China. They all told us that. Okay? Some of us went as far as to think that there would be a possibility of being able to make some sort of perpetual energy machine that would be able to reflect back and forth past the pinnacle area of the core of the Earth, of where the most gravitational pull would be. Anyways, digressing again. We all had the same brainwashing. So we all understand what clicks with us in order to get to other people. And you have to relate with people. Because when you let people know that you're not their enemy, it changes the game. It changes the game. This girl obviously was not ready to have any sort of assertive nature placed over her. And that's what Marilyn did. Marilyn placed an assertive nature over her to put the ball in her court. It's now her responsibility to do the work. Marilyn has no pride in this game. She doesn't care if you believe her or not. In fact, she prompts you to go research it yourself. This is where people actually have to start thinking on their own.
Search. Okay? This is just giving you information. It's not to debate you, and it's not to make fun of anybody, because as human beings, we need to respect each other, don't we? Okay?
See how she made that clear. We're all human beings, we're all equal.
that were taken from outer space?
There is no outer space as you know it.
Hearing that,
There,
that might
the
reflect
only
her, but do you
thing
hear
is
how she, do you hear
high-flying
how she's no
planes
longer just
that
you
could
see how
take
she's no longer
pictures
just
at
cocky.
times.
She knows that
We
the
don't
message
believe
that's
there's
been
any
given to her
satellites.
is
You never see
serious.
any dishes pointing up. There are no geostationary satellites. Okay? We never get any of those telescopes. The Hubble never takes a picture of the Earth. The Hubble never
See, this
takes
is a lot
pictures
of
of
information
satellites.
to get
How
at
come?
one time. It's a lot of information to get at one time. See? See her sister. Her sister is still in comedy mode, looking over at the boys, you know. That's probably the age she's at, you know, everything's funny. Let's find humor in things. Her sister is the academic of the two of them. Her sister is the thinker. That is why she was the primary one asking most of the questions. She is skeptical of things that get taught to her. She's probably someone who's heavily against religion, as we all should be heavily against religion, as it is a weapon to control the mind and the weakness of a person. You do not need a medium to have a relationship with the being that gave you your soul. You do not need someone to teach you how to be or have a relationship with the entity that created you. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Okay, so I think that's so beautiful. Let's just watch that again real quick.
No outer space as you know it.
So what's
There,
outside
the only thing,
Or did
there actually was a world flood. Whether you believe it or not, there actually was. Okay? So there's a lot of evidence with layered rock. Okay? And so you have to look into that too. But you have to do research. You cannot just say, I'm just going to believe whatever the government says. You can start by looking up 200 Proofs video.
Look at that.
And you watch the 200 proofs,
Look at that,
and what you
nod.
don't understand,
See
you
that
go
nod?
research.
Alright.
Okay? This is just giving you information. It's not to debate you, or it's not to make fun of anybody, because as human beings, we need to respect each other, don't we? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you explain the pictures that were taken from out of space?
There is no outer space as you know it.
So what's
There,
outside
the only thing is
it nothing?
high-flying planes that could take.
So that question she just asked right there, what's outside the dome? Is it nothing? The fact that she's now able to think about the possibility that everything she knows is not real is going to leave her to question her entire paradigm. The fact that she has allowed the possibility to be seated in her is what will spark the curiosity. Okay? You would have never thought that you lived on a ball unless you were told that you were lived on a ball. And that had to be reinforced through what you believe is experience. But if the experience that you're holding on to as fact is only existent in your imagination, then that is not your reality. Anything that only exists in fiction or imagination is not reality. Reality can be experienced with your senses.
At times. We don't believe there's any satellites. You never see any dishes pointing up. There are no geostationary satellites. Okay? We never get any of those telescopes. The Hubble never takes a picture of the Earth. The Hubble never takes pictures of satellites. How come? You have to start to just look into this. Okay?
Well worth it.
Yes, and don't wait till you're as old as me.
You see how she confirmed that there
To
was
do it.
information on
Be
there for her
smart
to be able to
now.
find? Look, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. You see how she's actually looking. She's looking at the information on the paper. No one else is going to do that. She is looking. She's a reader. She works for what she has. She's young and she understands. But this is one out of probably 200 or 300 people that Marilyn has seen today. But because she is the one that is now, she was the leader of this group, this amateur, random, thrown together think tank, if you will, for lack of a better vernacular. She was the leader. Okay? The leader recognizes what's going on. The leader recognizes that the message that's being delivered to her is a serious message. And therefore, the rest of the people are going to resonate towards that. They're going to feel that. They can feel the energy that's being given off in this area, mostly because the message that's being conveyed to them is coming from the spirit. If you're thinking with your spirit and you're not thinking with your flesh, if you're thinking with your spirit, if you're thinking with what was given to you that no one else can have control over, that's the part of you that that's you, that's your inner core being. If you truly believe that there is no influence on your being or your existence, then it shouldn't be a problem for you to actually double check what you think you know versus what you know. Only your ego is going to keep you from looking the other way. If other people's opinions and thoughts, or other people's videos, other people's whatever, are able to influence you and your thinking, then you're not thinking on your own. They're thinking for you. Alright? These people were allowing someone else to think for them, and right now it works out in the benefit of this little group, because they can tell that she's the one that's reading. Her eyes are over here on these boys. She's not focused on learning something new. She's focused on boys. She has already been through that. She has no other focuses right now except to challenge what has been her entire paradigm. You see the person on her shirt. You know that this is something that she holds dear, because she believes that her entire way of life has been built upon what she thinks is fact. It is not fact. The things she knows are not fact, and this is why it's changing her perception. She's interested in learning now.
Reason why we should see wildwood from here. When you look at the curvature formula, it says it should be under 200 feet of water all over the curve. But we can see wildwood. I went down there in July. So just do a little bit of looking into this. Okay? 2.5 years ago, I watched 200 proofs. Now I'm teaching it.
See, she only wanted to be able to laugh and smile
Give
when
this to
everyone
your
else was.
parents or whatever.
I
Okay?
don't need one. I'm too smart for
Give
that.
it to your
You
folks.
see?
Are you with him?
I'm too cool.
Okay.
I don't need education.
And just look into it.
I already know everything. The TV tells me I'm smart and I'm the future. I don't need anybody to help me learn. So that's all I really wanted to look at in this video. Marilyn, again, great job. The stuff that happened before this, I actually kind of want to do a video for you also. And just like this one, you can feel free to post to your channel if you'd like. Or just take it as a job well done. Alright, thanks.